Hey everybody out there, I'm Jake James Lugo and welcome to Gamers with Gains. Now I'm a big fan of gaming communities. I think bringing people together through their love of gaming is such a special and awesome thing that offers a lot of positivity not only in the real world but also here on the internet. I think it's something that everybody should kind of be a part of in one form or another. Whether it's a particular genre that you're a fan of, whether you like a particular series, it doesn't matter what you actually have a preference for. Interacting with other people is always a great thing. But there's always that negative aspect to it, and it's always like, kind of a back and forth between positive and negative when it comes to large groups of people. No matter what type of gaming community or any type of community that's out there on the internet, you're always going to have that positive and negative aspect to it. So let's talk about something that I've touched on lightly both here on the YouTube channel and also on my Twitch live streams, gaming communities themselves. How to actually save a gaming community, how to build up one, how to prevent it from going to such a toxic type of environment, and all this other stuff. And one of the things I always kind of point the finger at is people that have large followings that kind of, tout about actually making a gaming community or any sort of community better for that matter, but never actually really kind of do their part or really put a conceited effort to make it better overall. Now the reason why I'm talking about this is because I actually saw a video from my boy DuncanKneeDeep. I actually met him when I was at E3 not too long ago. I actually saw one of his videos where he was talking about the Pokemon community in general. He was mentioning a few different things that had happened, and as far as like how the community itself has become so toxic over the years that it's pretty much gone to such a shitstorm that pretty much it's beyond saving at this point. Now granted, he was kind of like focusing on one particular individual, and I'm going to touch on that in just a bit, but I want to kind of like generalize the actual discussion because I think this is something that could be applied to all gaming communities on the internet. Again, a lot of this is familiar territory for some of you if you've kind of tuned into some of my live streams or you've seen some of my other videos on YouTube. I've talked about different aspects of it here and there, but I'm going to kind of summarize it here a little bit in one video. Again, because I kind of got inspired from watching his vlog and talk about this type of stuff. I think that gaming communities are great. I think that, gaming communities have the potential to do positive change and positive impacts on not only large groups of people as a whole, but also for the internet in general. I think that everybody, when they become united or pretty much, come together under one banner or come together under one type of like goal and kind of, motivation for that matter, they actually really can do positive things and can really bring something special out there to everybody else. Not only enticing new people to join up with their community, but also to make big things better for everybody that's already a part of it. Now, don't get me wrong, there's this whole elitism thing that's out there when it comes to different types of games and genres and groups of people. Again, you could apply this to the fighting game community, the Pokemon community, the first-person shooter community, the mobile community. Again, the list goes on and stuff. But I think that if you're someone that is just well-versed in the kind of like field of games, if you love games and you have a passion for it, or you just have a passion for just being parts of those large groups and large bodies of people and stuff, you could really have an opinion if you really have some sort of kind of like outlook on it. Or if you at least, look at some of the different things that happen and you're able to kind of like, digest and kind of interpret all the different stuff that goes on. So the reason why I bring this up is I want to talk about the Pokemon community specifically, because I think it's become a prime example of what has really kind of gone wrong, or like how things can potentially go wrong when people just don't care enough to actually make things better for their said community that they care so much about. Now, on the flip side of that, I also look at the kind of funny community, and I've said it for like a while now, the kind of funny gaming community, which is the guys, Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, Tim Geddes, Nick Scarpino, etc., and all their fan base is really a prime example of like what could be done right and how things could be done for the better for any sort of community out there, gaming or otherwise. Because I feel like their positivity and their kind of like push and kind of like, constant reinforcement about positivity within their group of people is really something a lot of other gaming communities or any community could really aspire to be, or at least take example from. And I feel like the Pokemon community could actually use some of that right now. And what does that really entail? It really comes along with this idea of pushing out negativity at its core. Not only just kind of like, pointing the finger at it and actually saying, hey, this is wrong, but making a conceited effort to push it out of the way. So that way it doesn't not only make the entire environment toxic, which is a word that everybody seems to throw around but doesn't really understand, but really negative for everybody else overall and ruin the fun out of being part of that whole group or that whole body of people. So with Pokemon, I feel like this has been kind of like a generalized accepted thing that the community is toxic and that the community is negative. You could say the same thing about the FNAF community, League of Legends or MOBAs or Dota or kind of like anything, pretty much that's out there. Some people said that about the FGC for the longest time, and I feel like things are maybe starting to change up for the better. But with Pokemon specifically, like there's such this negative connotation about being a PokeTuber, about being someone that talks about Pokemon on YouTube or on the internet, loving the series, or if you're not one way or the other, you're automatically kind of like ostracized from it, and I think it's kind of bad for it. I mean, you have all these different types of YouTubers. Again, you got like people like DuncanKneeDeep, you got people like Verlisify, Tamashi, I forgot how you pronounce her name, but it's one of those really popular female streamers and female YouTubers that's really big in the Pokemon scene and stuff. Again, I apologize. Tamashi Hiroka, okay, that's how you say it, okay, it just hit me right now. But you have a lot of these different people that are out there, okay, and not just any of the specific people that I mentioned, but a lot of different vloggers, a lot of different YouTubers and content creators that are out there that have large followings of people, and at the same time, they kind of just generally accept that the community has gone to shit, and they don't really do anything to really kind of add more positivity into it because they feel like it's a futile effort. And I think that's the first step to kind of like a downward spiral for any sort of gaming community that's out there. Let's take Verlisify for an example, because that seems to be like one of the individuals that people really kind of associate negativity with in the Pokemon community. And for one reason or another, right or wrong and stuff, that might be kind of like on the right track. The reason why I say this is not because obviously I don't know the guy. Again, I've only seen like some of his videos. But really, there's this kind of thing where there's this constant finger pointing and constant need of wanting to be in the right without actually trying a conceited effort to do right. What I might mean by that is this. Someone's always quick to call foul on somebody else. Someone's always quick to point out somebody cheating in a particular type of game or tournament format, or somebody's always trying to prove another person wrong rather than actually open up a discussion. And here's the difference, and here's the reason why I compare the Pokemon community and the kind of funny community, and there's such a good kind of like dichotomy there. In the kind of funny community, at least for example, right, you got people that disagree with each other, but there's always that open discussion. It's not a shouting match, and it's not something where everybody's trying to be right. They're trying to have that discussion where they're trying to have that open communication. They're trying to kind of have that back and forth when it comes to actually talking about and discussing the things that they're passionate about, rather than just saying like, oh, I'm more credible than another person, or I'm the one that's right. I'm the one that has, the veteran status, or the one that's really should be the person that everybody goes to when they want to know something. There isn't a lot of that going on. Again, it's a lot more of a positively driven community rather than anything else. But in the Pokemon community, and again, and in the case of Verlisify and stuff, I usually see more of the complete opposite of that. It's really just like, oh, this guy, he's doing some stuff that's like cheating in Worlds or like any sort of tournament, and it seems like fishy and stuff like that. Or this constant need to prove yourself right, or your constant need to defend yourself when everybody just like throws criticism your way. Again, these are just some of the things that have just been put out there on the internet, not necessarily how I feel about the matter. Again, I'm more of an outsider looking in, and I just love gaming communities so much, and I could kind of see like the comparisons between the two, or at least some of the differences or whatnot. But that's just an example of like, okay, there's so much more negative or kind of like passiveness that's kind of like injected into this Pokemon community or just this community in general that nothing ever really gets better. Now, you do have occasionally, every once in a while, somebody like DuncanKneeDeep or whatever that would do something that talk about something to kind of like encourage people to do something better. But the overall majority of people that's like that isn't really leading by example. They're not really necessarily going out there and really trying to be like, oh, this is how we should do things or whatnot, or this is like something that everybody should really pay attention to or really get the discussion going. No, every single person that I see, it's constantly like, no, this is right, this is wrong. If you're not doing it the right way, then you're completely just wrong and you shouldn't be part of this community. When did it ever become a thing in any sort of gaming community for that matter to be like, oh, we have to choose sides like we're part of West Side Story? I mean, are you a Jet or you're a Shark? Are you freaking, was it Callie or Marie? Are you a Zigzagoon or a Populio, or a Rowlet and Popula? You guys get the idea. Like there's such big division amongst people and such polarizing ideas because everybody's trying to be right about something rather than trying to do right about something. Okay, now again, take it or leave it as far as opinions. Again, this is just my opinions on the matter. I'm just putting these thoughts out there so everybody can kind of get that food for thought and those gears churning in their head. Because if you want to make a community better, if you want to make any gaming community better, not just the Pokemon community and not just the FGC, not just the FPS community, but any community on the internet better, it takes an act of selflessness and a little bit much more of positive motivation in order to do right by something and make things better for everybody, not just yourself. again, this really, I bring it down to, like, again, if you have like a large following and a large group of people that love your content, that love what you do, and actually love your ability to kind of like, you know, put out your feelings and put out your emotions and your opinions out there about something, and they love listening to that, why not, instead of just actually trying to prove yourself right towards everybody else, but actually encourage everybody that follows you to think and to actually have that diversity, have that actual positive reinforcement, to get that discussion, that communication going with your fan base or with your viewers or whatever you want to call them and stuff, your fellow people that are in that same community as you, in order to bring everybody up together. Again, I find a lot of that in the kind of funny community, and I think that's what really makes them the best community on the internet as far as like when it comes to having people and being positively driven and such. And every other community I feel should aspire to get something like that, because it's going to make everything that much more better. Why kind of like, you know, relish the idea of drama, quote unquote, and negativity and this conflict and this kind of debate and stuff within your gaming community? Again, I'm looking at Pokemon community specifically just as an example. Why relish in that when there's could be so many much more better things done better like that by just actually just opening up and being a little bit much more different in your approach to stuff? Again, take it or leave it. It's just food for thought for all of you guys out there. I really feel like this is something that not only the Pokemon community, but any other community out there could really aspire to actually get something out of and actually make themselves a little bit better. For God's sakes, when you really think about it, again, just using Pokemon as an example, okay? Really, everybody has like this kind of like elitism and stuff when it comes to like the way that you're supposed to play Pokemon. What types of stuff is right or wrong? This idea of like who's right or better in tournament play and stuff like that. It's such like a negative, kind of like a one-up type of culture. It's like it's not trying to bring everybody up together. When it really gets down to it, everybody loves Pokemon in this group. Everybody loves being part of the games, you know, watching the anime, reading the manga and stuff like that, or just discussing what's your favorite Pokemon. Did you catch them all? Didn't you not catch them all? What's your favorite type, the card game, all these different things that's out there and such. We all have some sort of element of love for the series that we've probably grown up with for many years. Like Pokemon has already become 20 years old. You know, granted, it was in Japan long before it came into the United States, but it's about 20 years old or so. So some of us have grown up for, you know, playing these actual games or being part of this actual series. We all have something really in common and such. So why don't we kind of like use that as the core of our motivation to bring everybody else up together? Again, that's just an example towards the Pokemon community, but you can find those same type of elements in any other gaming community that's out there. But either way, moral of the story, or at least, you know, the main point of everything is that let your community grow and actually germinate and actually become something better through positive reinforcement, through positive motivation, through acts of selflessness rather than acts of selfishness. Try not to be so much right all the time, or try to prove yourself in the right, and actually try your best and kind of like really put your all into actually doing right for yourself and for the community that's around you, because then things are going to be better for everybody. But either way, guys, that's just my thoughts on the whole matter. Again, there's just something that I kind of got inspired by from watching DuncanKneeDeep's video and actually seeing all the talk about this and such. I hope it actually helped you guys out and actually got your gears turning in your mind and actually gets that discussion going for all of you. Leave me a comment down below in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of the matter. I'm going to send this to all the people that I talked about. Again, Verlisify, DuncanKneeDeep, Tamashi Hiroka. I'll probably send it to some of the kind of funny guys, because I think this is something that everybody could kind of like get something out of. And I feel like this will help better game communities in general. If you guys agree with me, if you can, I would appreciate it. Not only leave a like on this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, but also share this video with everybody else that you feel like, again, could get something out of this, could help spread this positive message and spread this kind of like, you know, this catalyst, this kind of little spark for everybody to kind of better their gaming communities out there. But either way, that's all I got for you guys. Don't forget, guys, I'm streaming every single weekday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch TV, playing a variety of different games. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Pokken because that's what a lot of people have been wanting to see and such. We've been having some real legit chats on Twitch. It's been a lot of fun. Again, if you want a fun Twitch stream, come check out some of my Twitch streams whenever I go live. Sometimes I stream in the weekends and stuff, but mostly on the weekdays. Again, all the links to this type of stuff is in the description box below. I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.